1 month into Payday 3's life cycle, the game's vitals are hanging on by a thread, a pulse can barely be found amidst a wave of matchmaking errors and update delays. Only one subsection of the community can save us now. My god, we are so back. Okay, in all seriousness, Payday 3 is not in a great state right now. There are dozens of quality of life fixes that are desperately required to get the game back on track. People despise the progression system, and it's just incredibly content light at the moment. Much like with early Payday 2, it's been easy to get burnt out over this first month. But if there's one community we can always count on to keep the lights on at Starbreeze and balance out the company's flaws, it's the immensely talented modding community who have proven themselves to be, once again, undefeated with a deluge of incredible content already in the game as of October 2023. It's crazy, 10 years of Payday 2 modding and Payday 3 already has hit the same peak. All jokes aside, Payday 3 mods are already amazing and have started to tackle many of the quality of life issues we hope to see fixed officially, whilst also giving us the opportunity to spice up the game for the better with crazy cosmetic and visual mods. This video is going to dive into some of the best and most insane additions from month 1, with all mod workshop links available down in the description. But before we dive in, I want to start this video off by explaining exactly how to install mods within Payday 3. As things stand, modding is even easier to access and more stable from my experience than it was in Payday 2. All you need is the Moolah mod loader, linked below, which you will drop into the packs file found within the game's local files. Within a new folder, you're going to have to create named ~mods. Get well acquainted with this location as it's where you'll be installing all the mods you plan to play with. The final step for both Steam and Epic players is to change how the game loads up, heading into properties and typing -file open log into your launch options. From there, all you need to do is download some mods from Mod Workshop, link below, and drag and drop them within your mods folder. I have yet to experience a single crash from doing this, so that's great news. Moving on to my recommendations, if I were you, yes, I know it's tempting to dive straight into big bottoms, but hear me out. I'd start by installing a few low-impact quality of life additions to make Payday 3 play sessions that bit more palatable. I started off with the Mute Contractors and No Heist Intro Sequences mods. This is in no way a jab at either feature, the voice work is great, and these intros are evocative of the mod from Payday 2. But with how few heists there are in the game right now, and how repetitive loading them up gets, after a few days of the game, you'll be begging to shut up, Shade and Shayu,
earn some money,
and will be fed up with the same 3 cinematic panels on every heist. These are a must install after around 20 hours of game time, in my opinion. Moving on to skills, I've seen a fair few complaints regarding how they're displayed and categorized. I've done my best to assist with this, but don't think you can do much better than Sora's Colored Skills mod, adding a clear color scheme for every skill in the game. If they don't interact with the Grit Edge Rush system, they remain white, as can be seen with the Hacker tree. If they involve Edge, they're colored red, Grit is blue, and Rush is green, with any yellow skills involving 2 or more of the buffs interacting at once. This should make building a simpler process in the long run, especially as more skills are added and more generally allows you to get the gist of a build just from a glance whilst we wait to be able to rename them. Also, related to character and weapon customization, we have the Better Weapon Preview mod. This one is exceptionally simple but effective. It adds 2 primary features to the weapon cosmetic screen. One that allows you to scroll to zoom right in on the glorious details of your weapon, and another that allows you to reposition the gun to better see certain sections such as charms or stickers. This is the perfect install and forget it wasn't a base game feature sort of mod that is well worth grabbing early. Finally, on the quality of life front, I'd say the most requested change to Payday 3 since launch has been to alter the current progression system. It seems Starbreeze are softening their position on that and will start working towards a hybrid approach to XP and leveling in the future. But until we get an update, all we can do is try and handle the pure challenge system with all its janky menus as best we can. One of my biggest complaints with it is in how challenge completion is only conveyed at the end of a heist, leaving me wasting time and guessing in most cases. With the challenge notifications mod, this stops being an issue altogether, enabling you to get an almost live update on your challenge progress throughout a heist, making that grind just a bit more bearable until we see some tangible additions to the system. Moving on to a category of mods near and dear to my heart, we need obviously to talk about HUD mods. I've been a Hawks, Wolf, and now Vanilla HUD Plus acolyte for almost 10 years in Payday 2, so naturally I want to see how the community plans to give Payday 3's rather bare-bones aesthetic the same treatment, starting with the Kill Count mod. This one could just as easily fall into the QOL category as a great way to track weapon kills picked up over the course of a heist with challenges in mind. It also tracks the damage you've done, meaning it's perfect for groups of competitive heisters who want to brag about who was the MVP on that latest overkill job. Some might find it to be a little obtrusive and add more noise to their screen than necessary at the moment, but it's still an excellent utility well worth considering. Of course, one common feature of HUD mods that I haven't been able to get away from ever since I first experienced it in good old Hawk's HUD are the damage numbers. I basically can't play Payday 2 without the satisfaction these bring my lizard brain on that game, and whilst I find enemy damage feedback to be much better implemented in Payday 3, you still can't go wrong with a few numbers popping up over the cops' heads for an instant dopamine spike. This one is fully color-coded, depending on where you're landing your shots and if an enemy type has armor left, as well as giving you a much better idea of exactly how much damage any weapon you're using is actually doing. We can see just how much of a beast the Moscone is, and why the SMGs feel like death by 1000 cuts. Whilst I won't be using this utility in all my future videos as it's confusing as hell for console players, this will be one I go back to when casually playing in my own time. Finally, we have the simple armor and health HUD, also created by the talented Lesnov Braskovich. This is a bit of a game changer, especially if you like to know exactly what's going on behind the scenes as far as enemy health is concerned, and enjoy Payday as a numerically focused horde shooter rather than more of an immersive heisting sim. This HUD will give you live information on enemy health pools and remaining armor supply, which heavily dictates the damage you're actually doing. Having access to that information has been eye-opening for me, enabling me to be efficient in my trigger discipline and learn more about how these systems actually work behind the scenes, refining many of my weapon setups to better suit how damage and defense mechanics are playing out. It can be immersion breaking in places, but this mod is already a top quality resource that I'm sure will be one of the most popular in the game for years to come. Also, when combined with the return of Proving Grounds, a test map heist, you can learn even more about what your weapons are capable of in a safe shooting range style environment. For instance, I learned that dozers have a massive pool of armor, totaling 3,500 points of damage resistance, that can actually be destroyed in its entirety to access their comparatively average 200 hit points. Or you can just shoot the faceplate itself, which takes completely separate damage, allowing you to access their armorless head with impunity. Here I also learned that SWATs in Payday 3 can armor gate you just as we used to in the previous game. If they have even a single point of remaining armor, it will eat up all the incoming damage from your weapon unless it explicitly penetrates it, reducing the actual hit point damage of that specific shot all the way down to 0. This in mind, we'll have to be a lot more careful with damage and breakpoints when it comes to crafting builds in the future. Alright, if you came here for actual Payday 3 playing utility mods, you can close this video now. Don't forget to subscribe for more future Payday mod content on your way out though. Okay, they're gone. We can talk about Pole Dancing Wolf again thanks to the menu stripping mod. Okay, that might not be your idea of a perfect visual mod for Payday, even if it is mine. You might actually prefer something like this Ghost reskin for chains. Oh, I need to turn off menu stripping for this. I don't think it'll have the same impact otherwise. That's better. Visually, Ghost here looks incredible and fits the world of Payday far better than I care to admit. I don't know the ins and outs of what it takes to make these mods work, but right now there are obviously some limitations of how they function. For instance, when I went into a heist as Simon Chains Riley, I found that I seem to have left my wrists in the escape van, heisting as a pair of levitating hands. Also keep in mind, if you try to equip the face model with any unique in-game outfits, you'll turn into the Invisible Man, so don't expect to be able to dress them up in Joy's old fit anytime soon. In any case, as a mod that allows you to heist alongside Ghost, this one knocks it out of the park. And that in mind, who else would you like to heist alongside other than the one and only Gordon Ramsay? Yes, he's back from Payday 2. No, he doesn't know where the lamb sauce is, but he sure as hell knows where the money's at. Gordon is a classic and favourite reskin mod of mine, and so I'm delighted to see him join up with the remnants of the gang in New York, briefly taking over Hoxton's body to do so. He also seems to retain the integrity of his wrist when playing online, which is a nice bonus if you don't just want him on the squad. Much like Ghost, it's simply fun seeing these crazy character models in Payday 3 so early into its development cycle. But those aren't the only visual mods at our disposal already. You can like to add some subtle changes to make it feel more like home on any heist via the Jacket Escape Van. There are already dozens of reskins for the van on Mod Workshop, but knowing how thirsty you guys are for Jacket to return in Payday 3, we might as well get an even more constant reminder with this 80s Vaporwave van skin. I also love that van mods show up in the safe house, meaning even the most bland menus in the game get a little spruced up after installing. Another popular mod category I've seen is for modified phone screens. I've decided to try out Sprin's PMO, this cute little Adventure Time inspired theme for any hacks you carry out, which will beam at you whenever you're successful in using it and will scowl when something goes wrong. Simple, effective, and not just a PNG of Dallas's face. It's a huge win. Of course, we can also download mods to add additional options within weapon customization, using Busy's animated stickers mod, completely rejuvenating that cosmetics application for me. This has created a platform for a ton of creativity, with dozens of animated sticker mods already springing up, such as this beautiful twerking Among Us guy. I cannot escape this hell. In all seriousness, these sorts of mods are already elevating the cosmetic elements of the game, and I can't wait to see how creative the community gets in the months to come. And finally, if combat is getting a bit stale for you across the 8 heists this game launched with, why not try out the cartoon muzzle flash mod, adding some outlandish effects to every shot you fire and grenade you toss. Whilst the bang is subtle at first, when you put it side by side with the vanilla game, you can see how low-key satisfying this mod actually is. Just one more step towards the modded madness we can come to expect in a few years for Payday 3. That's it for today's mod list, created for those of us who are lost and not sure where to go with the game, but love the core mechanics of it all and still want to play more. If you're on PC, I do think looking towards the modding community, even if it wasn't something you particularly enjoyed in Payday 2, is the way to go. There's no red tape in terms of what mods can fix, meaning many of your most major complaints about the game might have already been solved, whilst we wait for the first few updates to get the green light. This won't be the first or last time that modding has bailed out the franchise and kept interest high during fallow periods. A huge statement of gratitude from me to all modders out there, especially those featured within this video. In the weeks to come, I'd like to make this somewhat of a reoccurring series, featuring the best new modded additions of the past few weeks, so stay tuned if that's of interest. I have faith that if Starbreeze can't do it, you guys probably can. Thanks a lot for watching, be sure to check out the mods in the description, take care, and I'll see you all very soon. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.